Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it, and thank you to TK and JP for setting this up and having us here. Like you said, my name's Cheryl Martone. I'm from Westbrook, Connecticut, and I'm here with a group of other parents with organizations, and I started U.S. Concerned Parents about DCF and judicial abuse. While on my journey, I've seen a lot of other parents that have been abused by the system. My story starts with education, and I approached my child's middle school principal about his curriculum at school, and I didn't like some of the classes that he was in, and I tried to have him change things. So he wasn't responding. So I went to the Board of Ed to try to get things changed there. And he didn't like it. He took it as a complaint. So I went to the superintendent. Superintendent didn't do anything because they seem to be their own government. Schools seem to have their own government thing going there. They're like a separate entity from the town, from probate courts, from anybody. So because I did that, he started harassing and badgering my child at school. And then I went to try to get help from the DCF, which was a major mistake. I called the DCF hotline because my child was being harassed at school. And that's when it started, like 3 years ago. And it just fell into place into court with a hearing at school with somebody from the Department of Education. I tried to get help from them. They would not do anything for me because they said, "Oh, is your child special needs? Or did your child have a disability?" I said, "No, my child he's very educated. And he's educated and he has a high IQ and he's a very intelligent, perceiving child." So they started this stuff with me that they wanted me to go to an evaluation because I was speaking up for my child. I had the right to speak up for my child's education and civil rights. So they took me into court for a hearing because the principal of my child's Westbrook Middle School, of which I have a blog too on the internet. If you Google DCF allowed WMS principal to hurt my child, I got about 400 comments already in a year. They sent my case. They had a hearing at juvenile court because my child was being badgered at school, and I didn't like it, and I complained about it. I wasn't trying to make a complaint, but they turned it into a complaint. So my story is ultimately they took my child from me. They took me to court, said that I needed an psychological evaluation because I was speaking up for my child. In no way I don't need a psychological evaluation. My child doesn't need psychological evaluation just because of speaking up for my child's education. So ultimately I took him out of school, started homeschooling him, and then they tried to cite him for truancy because I filed a letter of intent to homeschool my child. And that's where the major calamity begins. That they try to say I educationally neglected my child. How farce is that when a child's getting homeschooling? I have many scholars in my family. One being my uncle was a dean of psychology at Miami University. My niece is a biochemist, worked for Klein Laboratory at Yale University. So, what I'm trying to say is that I have these posters. There's a danger in government. There's much corruption. I've seen much corruption. Anytime you try to speak up for your child or your family, they just come at you and try to cut you out and cut you down. I'm in the juvenile court now, and I try to speak up for my family, my son, my son's father. And I committed no crime, and they're trying to criminalize my life. I didn't have a police record. I would never do anything wrong to anybody. I would never try to hurt anyone. I try to help people. Now I started this support group in my organization, U.S. Concerned Parents. .webs.com, and my email is ctparent@gmail. So I feel that my child's been legally kidnapped, and I want everyone to write to your senators and reps and tell them to join us in the war on CPS. We want to tell you, and many of you already know from the public hearings, they started the public hearings and investigations on DCF in Connecticut on 12/18/08. There was 200 people signed up to testify about DCF and investigate, show what they know about DCF in Connecticut, and it's on CTN. Thank you. CTN-N.com. And this shows the atrocities from all these people that showed up. I waited 9 hours to testify. And this shows the atrocities and the lawlessness of our family courts. The laws that are there to protect us, they totally ignore you. They totally ignore that we have rights. We are victims of abuse by DCF, false reporting in the courts. This is what they're doing. They take people's word for it that you're the perpetrator. And I'm the family member who protects my child. I brought my child up. I carried him for 9 months. I breastfed my child for a year. I was his main teacher. My child's 13 years old. I was his main teacher all his life. And they want to rip my child away from my life. So he belongs to me. He doesn't belong to DCF, the state, or no one else. I see that they keep your child. They failed my child, and they are getting services they are receiving federal funding, and they have serious violations by due process of law. My child has a family. I come from a large Italian family. I have 26 first cousins. My son has, I can't even begin to tell you how many cousins he has. People that wanted to take him in because DCF was making false allegations against me. Because I'm a single mother working hard to make sure that my child has a good education. And now he has to live with strangers. And he's deprived of his natural biological family. And his Italian culture that I was brought up with. He doesn't get the good nurturing. I cooked all that good Italian food for him. Now he gets like hot dogs and frozen foods full of nitrates, institutional type food. Now they got him in a foster house. He's teaching them how to cook. He's making meatballs for them. He tells me they go out to eat. These people are making so much money. They get $2,600 a month for my child to be in that foster house. He gets no love, no nurturing. I said to him, Justin, do they praise you for doing anything good? No. They show you any love? No. Did they give you any special treatment that you're a good child? No. Does he go to, I said, did they bring you to church like mom taught you all the spiritual, good, moral things when you were growing up? No.